Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the Yak-9K, sitting at 4.0 battle rating. We have arrived in rank 3 of the Soviets and I'm working hard on the editing of the rank 2 guide slash review. And that's going to be a lot of work, so I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be finished, but I'm working on it in the meantime while providing you already with content from the rank 3, because I'm flying these planes at the moment and there's a lot of interesting planes in there, so you're gonna have a lot of reviews again as we go through them, and then after that, at the end of that, the rank review. The Yaks, we're back in the Yaks, and the 9K is the big one, the one with the 45mm cannon, which is a big gun. And it's an effective gun when you hit people, but when you don't hit people, or you shoot too many at the same time, it can be quite inaccurate. It's a close range, short range shotgun kind of type of thing. If that was English, bloody hell. This thing doesn't have war emergency power. Let's start off with the speed. Maximum speed in this thing at sea level is 507 kilometers an hour. At 4,500 meters, this is 454. And at 6,500 meters, 393. Now, these speeds are not very spectacular, to say the least. They are very similar to the Yak-9. Actually, the original Yak-9 at 3.0, and at 3.0 those speeds were quite good, but I can say that at this battle rating it is not that good. This is 4.0 with up tiers to 5.0. I mean, whew, that is interesting. Not so good then at this battle rating for speeds. It becomes less and less good with the higher you go, of course. Top speeds in a dive are actually also quite similar to the Yak-9. 649 kilometers an hour before she redlines, and around 700 before she rips apart. I had 690 at one point, I had 710 at another point, and in the Yak-9 I put it at 705. So yeah, it's in that range. Control stiffening in the plane is starting at 450 with a second big compression roll in the roll rate at 525. The elevator stays quite functional though, so there's no worry there. But it feels like that second tick in control stiffening is a little bit earlier than the Yak-9. Maybe that has to do with the extra weight of the 45mm setup, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a feeling. The stall speed is slightly lower than the original Yak-9. It's 120. This plane has good firepower, but I have to say that I do prefer a 20mm or a 23mm. But the 37s and the 45s are just touch and go. Sometimes you just need to. You're just unlucky with the direction a shot takes, and that can be very frustrating because you did everything else correctly, and you don't have that problem usually with 20mm or the usual smaller calibers, the Berzin for example. So I think it's good firepower, but it's not my favorite kind of thing. Despite that, I want to say despite that, I had an 11-to-1 kill death ratio in this plane in the matches that I flew. And it gives you great results. It's very effective, and it's a great plane to fly. So she does well, but yeah, I just prefer the 20mm and the regular shots instead of the individual shots, that you gotta take a little bit more RNG for you to hit something. And I don't like RNG, you know, I don't like insecurity when it comes to that. Or luck. I want to make a setup, I want to make the run, and I want to be sure that I can hit something. And if the shots go all over the place, which is usually the case with this gun, especially if you miss your first 2 shots, and if you repeat too many shots it becomes more and more inaccurate. They go all over the place after after a few shots. So yeah, no. Anyway, ammo loads are decent for the 45mm gun and good for the Beresin gun. You have the 45mm NS45 cannon with 29 rounds, and that's supported by a 12.7 Beresin UB machine gun with 200 rounds per gun. That's standard setup. That's almost always the case. 200 rounds for the Beresin. The performance in this plane, acceleration in a straight line is decent. In a dive it seems to be very good initially, and then of course you come into the Yak range, or the rip wing range as we say. Yaks are king at that, unfortunately, and you go into the risky area where you can rip off your wings in the dives, which is something you have to avoid. Yeah, and that can already start from the red line, from 650, 660. If you take too many G's, it can already rip off. The energy retention in the plane is good in the horizontal and very good in the vertical. Feels very nice, this plane, when it comes to energy retention. He's built very sleek, and nothing too. It's just a nice, clean aircraft when it comes to that. I like it. Why didn't I get that fucking tank right in the back there? But yeah, I had a few tank kills with the 45mm. It does work, but not always. Sometimes you gotta make a rerun if you do want to go ground pounding, right? This plane has no bombs, so it's just a 45mm. Now it can definitely penetrate, but you do not have armor piercing specialized ammunition or something. It's just the regular default ammunition, which is, I think it is high explosive, with a high explosive tracer, I think it is, if I remember correctly. I only checked it once and I kind of half forgot, but anyway. So yeah, that's unfortunate that I don't have ammo belts for that big gun. But it still works. If you hit it at the right angle, you can still kill those medium tanks. The climb rate in the plane is good. The turn time is above average and decent with flaps. The flaps rip off though at 340. That is still the same compared to the Yak-9 at 3.0, and 340 is not speed. I mean, bloody hell, in a straight line, in any straight line, even at 6,500 meters, you will rip off the flaps, no problem. So it's very dangerous to use flaps with this thing in a dogfight, because it does pull you off your projected route, and it can either make you fly into a tree if you're low to the ground, or, you know, lose you the dogfight. So be very aware of flap usage. Only use it at the top of your loops if you're going through loops, and watch your speed very well. Extended turn fights, you can use them as well, and it does make a difference. It does improve the turn time a little bit there. So yeah, but the rip speed is dangerous. The roll rate is decent. It brings the overall maneuverability to decent as well. Overheating in this plane is very present, unfortunately. If you fly around at 100%, which you usually want to do when climbing, of course, you overheat quite quickly. And once you have overheated, it is easy to get back to overheating. So initially you can last a little bit longer from the runway. You climb and you start to overheat at a certain point, and from that moment onwards you are constantly managing the overheating. The faster you go, you get a little bit more cooling, but in dogfights and stuff like that, you don't want to go into a dogfight in the Ember. It cools off nicely though, but you do have to manage it. It's not the biggest problem in the world, but it's very present, and it's definitely something you gotta watch. Durability in the plane is decent. It does rip the wings in dives, but it is quite decent when it comes to durability. The plane can take quite a bit of damage and still fly home. Even engine damage. To my feeling, when I had engine damage twice in the matches that I flew, and both times I was able to bring it back to the airfield from over halfway across the map. and that, I mean, some planes when they hit your engine, you are seeing the engine deteriorate into black very rapidly. But not with this one. It takes a long time going from normal grayish to yellow, from yellow to amber, and from amber to red or black, and that's nice. It gives you the opportunity to get home, and I like that about it. It does a lot for your survivability. Now this plane is mainly an energy fighter that can turn fight as well. Boom and zooming, only very short runs. Boom and zooming is definitely the role it does least well. Yaks are definitely not very good at boom and zooming because of the early red line and the very limited rip speed at 700 for a 4.0 battle rating plane, where it already in that dive rips apart at around 660, 665 easily. It is just not built to be a very good dedicated boom and zoomer. So you energy fight in this plane, and it's supported by a good climb rate, very good energy retention, strong performance, and I like it when it comes to that. She transitions well to turn fighting, and if you keep a good eye on your speed, you can even start from up high and to boom and zoom. It doesn't have a war emergency power, so you don't have to worry about that like in the Lavochkin, which just stops with their with the web at a certain altitude, and above that you do not have full power. There's a problem in that plane because it does make quite a bit of difference, especially on the altitudes where it works. But the Yaks don't have that problem. You get the 100% throttle effect, whereas it just gives you full power. Of course, the higher she goes, this one is not tuned for the higher altitude, so this one is still best below 4,500 meters. But she can still start from a boom and zoom position, which is something you usually wanna wait for. It's the best place to start with, tactically, of course, in the end. We have Final Blow, Terror of the Sky, Bulletproof, 73,000 Silver Lions and 7,000 research points. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. The Yak-9K. Interesting plane. It's just that it has the same frame, the same basic setup as the original Yak-9, and it has a massive 45mm cannon in there, which can be nice when it gives you the explosions and the shenanigans of one-shot kills and stuff like that. But it can be quite inaccurate as well, so it is not just for anyone. I mean, you got to play the game quite a bit of time, or spend some time on the aircraft to actually get good at it. The first 3 matches that I played, I think, was 3 matches that I had 1 kill before I had the 4 kill match, and then the 3 kill match, and then another 3 kill match. But I started off trying to get back into the groove of these kind of big guns. And it takes a little bit of a different approach with how you go into fights, where you actually fire, where you start firing, and where not. And you just gotta use it as a shotgun, the plane then, and wait until you're closer. Because the further out you are, the more difficult it is to aim this massive gun. But she's quite fun as an energy fighter, this plane, and you can give people a hell of a surprise with this gun and give people massive explosions while they sit in the plane and see their plane explode all around them. Yeah, that is fun, seeing the wings fly all over the place and see a plane break into 4 pieces. That's what you get in this plane and with these kind of guns. So that is fun. The Yak-9, but the performance starts to lack a little bit, as the original Yak-9 at 3.0 with the same kind of speeds, the same kind of red lines and rip speeds and flap usage and stuff like that. It can be a little bit meh at 4.0, but I did excellent in it, and I won't diss this plane. It's a good plane, and you just got to get used to that 45mm gun. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.